Hey guys, how you doing? This is Husta with Just a Plant Room. You might notice that the plant room is a little bit in disarray, but today I wanted to show you a couple of my favorite plants that are growing on poles. And it was a hard selection. I think I have 5 that I'm going to show you, but I could have shown you 10. So let's get started. All right, guys, so as I mentioned, today I wanted to show you a few of my plants that are on poles. And before we get started, I'd like to say thank you. If you're new here, thanks for checking us out. If you've watched before, thank you for returning. So jumping right in, I'm going to start with this Jerry Horn. So I got this plant, I want to say maybe about, let's see if it's on here, about a year ago. And it was a wee thing, about yay high. And as you can see, she's started to grow up the moss pole. While the leaves haven't really matured as I've seen online, they have progressively gotten bigger. And she impresses me all the time because she puts out new leaves at least once a month. Very soon I'll have to extend this pole, but this is one of those plants you don't hear people talking about, or maybe it's fallen out of popularity, but for me it's still one of my favorite plants. So yeah, this is my Jerry Horn. Moving right along, I chose this one because I love the shape of the leaves. And this is a Glad's hand, and while she hasn't really sized up as far as the leaves are concerned, they have gotten a little bit bigger. If you look towards the bottom down here, you can see how the leaves are smaller but still have a similarity in the shape of the larger leaves. But this one also continues to impress me because as you can see, she's got new growth. Apparently she's happy because the internodal spacing has gotten shorter, which tells me that she's getting enough light and she's loving those conditions. And because she's happy, so am I. And then moving right along, this is my Majestic. So I got this little baby off of, I want to say Etsy. And it hasn't been quite a year yet. And she was sent as a very small plant. And for a long time there, I couldn't seem to figure out how to make this one happy. She was not on the pole. She was just being staked with a bamboo stake. But about, I want to say 2.5, 3 months ago, I did put her on this pole. And I just recently extended the pole. And when I gave her that extension, you can notice on the bottom, you see how the spacing and the leaf size is really, really, really small. But as she got acclimated to her new environment, because she also had a room change, she wasn't always in this room. Look at the leaf size. She's actually starting to show her beauty, and the internodal spacing is getting shorter. And look at this, we've got a new leaf, and I can't wait until that unfurls to see if it's going to be bigger than this last leaf she put out. So she makes me very happy. The backs are pretty. It's got that little pink blush on it. I just can't wait to see this. I'm really hoping that it'll be a tad bit bigger than the one she just laid out. So yeah, this is the Majestic. And then if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I post this plant a lot. It is absolutely one of my favorites. So syngoniums for me have always been a challenge. I find it very difficult to grow that white butterfly or the more common varieties that you can find, in your local plant store or in the big box stores. But this one right here is a Chia Pence. And again, this one was relatively small when I first got her. I don't think we can focus on the bottom leaves. But as you can tell, she's been extended 3 times thus far, and with each extension, her leaves get bigger and bigger and bigger. This is the last leaf that she put out, which is still hardening off. And if I flip that just a little bit, it hasn't been a month yet. She's already pushing out a new leaf. And I'll end up having to give her a stake here to keep her straight, just so that she doesn't veer off to the side. And I didn't mean a stake, I meant a butterfly clip or something to keep her on the pole a little straighter. But yeah, look at that leaf. And It almost feels like leather. I don't know if you've ever had a Chia Pence or if you're thinking about getting one. I highly recommend it. It's an easygoing plant, very forgiving. She tells you when she's thirsty, and she's just beautiful. The texture, the color, the venation, all of those things are very attractive, and it would make a perfect addition to your collection. So moving right along, the last one that I'm going to show you, only because we're showing you 5 today, but I could keep on going forever and ever. We'll pick out 5 more in about a month. This is my Florida Beauty. And while I know she's just a common plant, I had to feature her. Look at the size of these leaves. And she's such a trooper. She just keeps on growing and growing and growing. I don't know if you can tell from back here, she is actually in need of an extension, which I hope to get to this weekend. But she's just pushed out a new leaf here, which is just hardening out. And she has another one, it appears, coming out here. And again, just like the other ones, she used to live in the other room where she was getting adequate light. We have the lights off now, but here she seems to be very happy. Again, I can tell that because of the internodal spacing in between the leaves. It's getting shorter and shorter. She doesn't have that gankiness that she had, you know, at the bottom where the spacing was much, much longer. It was more separate. She's closing that in, and she's pushing out a new leaf, I would say once a month. And the leaf size continues to get larger and larger. And she's actually changing her shape. So if you look at some of these leaves down here, they have more of that Batman shape. And as we start going further up, you see how that's indented a little bit more. So she's actually maturing, which is really cool. So those are the 5 plants that I was going to show you today. Are you growing on a moss pole? If you are, do you like it? If you don't, let me know why. I've recently started experimenting with the plank. I have 1 plant on a plank, and we'll see how that goes. But for the most part, I love the moss poles because I can, you know, if I wanted to propagate the plant, because they have a root system inside, I could literally chop the plant here, put this in another pot, and continue to grow without losing a beat. So those are the reasons I like the moss pole. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. See you next time. Bye, guys.